So finally, after a year, I got to come back to India. And I am so excited. I'm here in Goa with my team. We are at this amazing co-working space and we're spending time together. And I just feel so blessed to finally step out of my house, spend time with people, and do another video for all of you. For those of you who don't know about the state of Goa in India, it has some of the most pristine, beautiful beaches. And there's so many people from around the world who come here to just stay and enjoy the amazing food with all those amazing Indian spices and just spend time with nature. I recommend this place for all of you who are watching and who either from India, most of you, or from abroad. I'm Ashish Fernando, your global survival guide. And today, I'm going to be talking to you about my journey from being a student in the United States to a green card holder. So stay back with me if that's of interest. Most of you students who are traveling abroad to study may be dreaming of a job abroad and finally settling down with a permanent residency. And the US permanent residency card is also called the green card, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So as most of you know, I went to the US back in 2013 to do my MBA, and it was a one-year program, after which I found a job for myself. I worked there, got my green card, started a company, and the rest is history. So today I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you and maybe give you a few tips, few ideas on a path to a green card. Everything starts with your need to go abroad. So before I even talk about my journey, I want to say that a green card is not for everybody. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what you're actually letting go of before you go abroad and stay there or study there or work there. So you have to be very careful while making those decisions, right? So sometimes you'll see that, there's a very easy way to get to countries like Canada and Australia, and a lot of my friends are going. But everybody's life is not as green as you think it is, right? You have to be very careful about what matters to you the most. With that, I'll say for me, it was pretty evident that I was already working with a lot of American customers, and a US MBA made a lot of sense for me. I wanted to get a lay of the land and maybe spend some time over there. So I was very lucky to get a one-year MBA, get a full scholarship, and I got there and I studied. Post that, I found good offers. There was no reason for me to actually let go of them. So I took up one of those jobs. I stayed there. And when you're a student in the US, you have to go through something called an F1 visa. There are multiple visa types. I think there's over 30 types of US visas. The student visa is called the F1 visa. There's another type of visa which is for short-term study, and that's the J1 visa. But today we'll focus on the F1 because that's the most popular and most prominent type of visa that students go on. So I studied there on an F1 visa. The visa keeps extending as long as you keep studying in the US. Okay, so it's not that if you go there for a 2-year program and then you get your F1 visa, the expiration date on the F1 visa will match the last date on your I-20 admission application. But that doesn't mean after that you have to come back. Depends on what you choose to do. If you choose to study more, the F1 visa automatically gets extended. But path to green card would mean you have to jump now from an F1 visa towards a work visa. But there's something that comes in between, which is the OPT. So I had, if you need more tips on what an OPT is and how to get that, we'll make a separate video on that, but feel free to search on Google. You'll find a lot around this. But every student who studies in the United States gets something called an OPT, Depending on whether it's a STEM program or a non-STEM, it ranges from 1 year to 3 years. I got a 1 year OPT, so I could work there just on the OPT. Think of it like a temporary work status, and that's what I got. Once I joined my organization and before my OPT got expired, I went on a work visa. And this is the H1B. The H1B is one of the most sought after visas in the US, and that's the one that I had from my employer. There are other types of work visas. There's the L1 visa and there's a few others as well, but the H1B is most relevant. There's a lottery system, so not everybody gets it, and an employer needs to apply for you. So there's a lot of checks and balances on the way. But an H1B visa will give you 6 years as long as you're working for an employer who's willing to sponsor you. And I was lucky enough that I had an employer who sponsored my work visa. I stayed there, and then they applied for my green card. So now, talking about the different types of green cards, the first one that we'll focus on, which is the green card that I got, it's called an employment-based green card, or an EB category green card. And within EB, there's again 3 types. So you see how complicated it already starts getting. And that's why I said it's not as simple as saying, oh, I want permanent residence, so I'm just going. You have to go through multiple visits to the consulate, multiple applications to USCIS, which is the Immigration and Customs Authority of the United States, and it takes a long time. But if that's what you aim to get and that's what you desire, then that's your way. So within EB, like I said, within employment-based green cards, there are 3 types. There's the EB1 category, which is for extremely skilled, outstanding people. There's EB2, which is also a skill-based green card. And then there's EB3, which is your typically the average type of green card that a lot of employers apply in, right? So depending on whether you fall on EB1, 2, or 3, your waiting period for getting your green card may extend from anywhere around 8 months to a year, all the way sometimes to 17 or 18 years. That does happen, folks. A lot of my friends who are from India, who are on that EB3 category, have been given a date that's more than 15 years from now, just, to get their green card. So it takes a long time. But the best thing about it is, till you get your green card, as long as you have an active green card application, your work visa keeps extending. So if you remember, I premised this whole conversation by saying you get an H1B work visa that lasts 6 years. It lasts 6 years unless you have a green card application in process. And if you have a green card application with the USCIS or the Customs Authority, then till you get your green card, it will keep extending and you can work there. But remember that the day your green card application gets rejected or something else were to happen, then you are in a situation, because you cannot extend your work visa. You've already exhausted your 6-year limit and you have to find other ways. You have to either go back to study or you have to come back to your home country. But I was lucky enough, my employer applied for me in the EB2 category. And for me, the process was fairly simple. It is very important to not think about saving too much money when it comes to immigration lawyers. Okay, you will either through your employer or yourself need an immigration lawyer who will help you with your green card. But you'll find lawyers ranging from like $50 to $60 an hour is what they'll charge you, all the way up to $500 or $600. I think my company spent about $450 an hour for my immigration lawyer, and they were the best in the industry. They ranked in the top 3 law firms in the United States, and they were very diligent. I did not have to do much of the work. All I had to do was provide my documents and answer some very specific questions. But they have an amazing team that actually took care of my visas and my green card as well. Now, there was one twist in my green card process. So we applied for my EB2 green card, and a few months down, I got a letter from USCIS, and the letter said RFE. Now, that's a letter you don't want to see when you're applying for any type of visa, because it means request for evidence, and that's when USCIS is not fully convinced that they should give you the visa. And the letter will state what type of evidence they need to actually sanction or approve your application. And when you open that letter, you're going to be very anxious as to what's the question inside. Sometimes it's a question that will get you stuck. Sometimes it's something that you can work your way through. So in my case, this is a very funny story about my birth certificate, which did not have the right name, the full name that I have as my other records, and that was the RFE. The birth certificate is a very important document in the green card process, and if that name doesn't match, then it's a situation. So, and this was all in the middle, I think just at the beginning of COVID, and I found it very difficult to actually reply to that RFE. My immigration lawyers were really good enough to, send a response, to buy me some time. And I had to work with some authorities in India to fix my situation. And then we responded to the RFE with a new birth certificate that I got from the authorities, which had my proper name and everything, and it was attested. And doesn't stop there. You may not get an RFE at all, or you may get more than 5 or 6. It really depends, okay? And so it's important to get your ducks in a row when you make that first application. The more RFEs you get, the lower your chances to get approved. In my case, luckily, I had only one RFE, and we responded to that. And I am really happy to say that today I'm on a green card in the United States. I don't have to worry about extending my work visas and doing all sorts of things. But it's been a long journey, guys. I mean, I went to the US in 2013, and it's already 2021. I just got my green card last year, and there were so many things changing. The administration changed, the immigration policy changed in the US. Every time there's a new article or there's a new newsreel, and it says immigration policy change, my heart was just beating heavily, saying, oh my God, are they now going to say, yeah, we're stopping green cards? But, luckily, that wasn't the case, and I got through. So, my quick suggestion and tips for you would be, first of all, before you even go there, think about all of these steps that you have to go through. Do you really have the patience and the determination to actually go through your student visa, your work visa, OPT, and then your green card process? If yes, I urge you all to apply and go forth in your journey. But if not, it's still okay. There are better things to do in life. It's not that, I know it's a dream for a lot of people to go to a different country, study there and settle there. But that may not always be the best thing to do. But if it is, great. But meanwhile, have a great time, happy studying, and good luck with all of your endeavors. Thank you.